What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another NHL DFS puck drop. This is Hold the Door DFS from Fantasy Sports Insight. I'm excited for another slate, and we get I think five or six gamer tonight, and let's load up on the Oilers. That's kind of my plan. But we'll talk about some other strategies. Nathan MacKinnon should be back. That will shuffle up those lines a little bit. But biggest thing, per usual, hit that subscribe button down below. Throw a comment, maybe your favorite player of the slate, maybe your favorite contrarian play of the slate, or somebody that you think somebody's not going to be on, or maybe somebody that I did not mention. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment. We are cruising here at FSI. A lot of great content almost daily, PGA, NASCAR, soccer, NBA, you name it. So let's get into the slate. Also, if you are looking for a place right now to play some free or to get some free content in MLB, our two coaches, Andrew Berry and McKinley, probably not sure if I said your name right. I think so. Providing phenomenal spring training course, like digging in deep to the research, knows who's pitching, doesn't have to be coring a starting pitcher. No, it's phenomenal. Like, the research is awesome. I think that's just foreshadowing what awesome type of year it's going to be in our MLB premium Discord channel. So right now is a great time to just get a feeler, check it out, see if you like how they provide the content, and see if you want to stick around. And we are supporting tonight, again, for my homers out there, the Wild. Coys is going to love that. He loves when I give the Wild some shout out. Fiala is like 5.4K or something like that. Had a goal against Vegas last game. I'm not really on the Wild a ton tonight, but I think they're in play. But you see Draisaitl at the top, and or on the cover, and there's no getting around how much I love when Draisaitl and McDavid are on the same line. And we didn't really see the ceiling of their potential when they're together, but we know that it's there. If you played NHL DFS in the past, like Edmonton will just be starting to struggle for a little bit. Be like, hey, let's just put Leon and Connor McDavid on the same line for like 3 games and score 10 goals and then go back to where we need some line depth. But I think on this slate, as long as nothing changes in the morning or in a media report, that I think we're gonna like that top line for Edmonton again. So let's get into our picks. Just going to go over the odds quick here. Whoops. Again, the implied totals are not up yet when I'm recording this for Fantasy Labs. So I will get those posted for all our premium Discord members. Fantasy Labs has a phenomenal free tool just to check that out. But just kind of like, going off of, odds, Oilers are the biggest favorite here at -265 against Ottawa. That game will also have clearly by far the highest total at 6.5. The only game was 6.5 total. The next closest one is the Canadians and the Canucks at 6, with the Canadians on the road being a -150 favorite. Colorado at home is nearly a -200 favorite, with likely the return of Nathan MacKinnon. So those are kind of where you're going to target. The 5.5 total for the Vegas Wild game is like, wow. Vegas on the road. I think Vegas at home, we see more goals, but playing up in Minnesota right now, I just don't think there's going to be a lot of goals scored in that game. So not a lot to love in that. And the most unlikely game last time to blow up in this similar type of slate was on Monday, was the Kings and the Ducks, and 5.5 total with a lot of juice on the under. I think the game kind of reverts back to what it should have played out like. One of my favorite plays is still from that game, but it has been all year. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So let's start here at the center position. Connor McDavid, 9.3, probably will be the highest owned player of the slate. Normally, like, a lot of these slates, like, Matthews, McKinnon, McDavid, like, you just go around that same carousel all the time. McDavid's matchup is enough of a tiebreaker for me on this slate to prioritize him over Nathan MacKinnon. And normally McKinnon's floor of his shot floor is definitely something, and at a cheaper price tag would appeal to me more in like a cash game setup. but I just think the ceiling is way too high here for McDavid in this type of matchup. So I think both are obviously firmly in play. You could even go down to Mikko Rantanen, who's listed as a center for some reason. I know he's centered the last game. I think that was it with McKinnon out, with Landeskog and Niskanen on the other side. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you want Colorado exposure, I think both of them are fine. The $1,200 discount is nice, and then you even have Kadri at 6.3, who honestly performs better on the second line. We see that when they moved him back to the second line, his shot volume went back up. He does see a lot of his shot volume on the power play too, where he sits kind of like in the front of the net and just like a rebound, he's just pounding those rebounds in, or if he gets the centering pass, he kind of like is just facilitating in front of the net, but also putting shots on net at the same time. So I don't not like Colorado. I do like them here. I just think that if McDavid and Draisaitl are on the same line, I'm likely going to play those two over playing like McDavid plus McKinnon. If you find a way to jam in all three, or you go like McDavid, Rantanen, and Draisaitl at the winger position, you can make a case for that too. So the mid range is kind of gross in my opinion. Honestly, Kopitar, I just he's fine. I don't really love paying over $6,000 for him in a game that has an over under of 5.5 and the big juices on the under. But obviously he plays 20 minutes plus of ice every time. He plays the entire power play unit. He's a journeyman, man. He's so skilled. He's just on such a bad team. But Horvat, 5.5 has been in really good form, but I don't really always love him as a cash play. So I think you're playing him more on form rather than, consistency, in my opinion. And then Stevenson, I don't know. Let me double check lines here. If Stone is back, that will shake things up probably again. But last game he centered Pacioretty and Tuck. I think likely we see Stone back, him and Pietrangelo. Then Tuck would just move back onto the third line with Glass. And so I don't know. I think Stevenson is going to continue to keep his role centering the line of Max P and Stone. So even if Stone is still out, I still like Stevenson at 4.6. I don't really think he gets shuffled unless Glass were to move up. But 4.6 is a nice price tag for him. Henrique has been on absolute fire. I know some guys in the Discord were talking about him. Definitely in play. Again, really low total. So I think he's fine for value. I just not head over heels for that game in general. But Colin White and Tierney, I'll get to Bukestad here next, but they did move Chris Tierney, who's at 2.8K up to the top line in the last game. It looks like I don't see any recent changes yet for that. So he is centering the line with Connor Brown and Brady Tkachuk, which is obviously definitely an upgrade for somebody like him at 2.8K. Not going to put a lot of shots on goal or have a lot of like floor, but just the equity of playing with such a great player like Brady Tkachuk, I think in a really high, pace environment, in a high goal total environment, I think that certainly puts him in play. And then Colin White is centering the second line with Dadov and Paul. I actually don't like the second line that much, but Colin White's been pretty good lately. I prefer the third line of Norris, Stützle, and Batherson, which I kind of just treat as their second line or second best line. Bukestad, the Wild did a little blendering. We call that the line blender in the last game, and he did center Zuccarello and Kaprizov, moving Rask down to the third line. But I think all three lines for the Wild are kind of in play. They're pretty strong lines. So Bukestad at 3.5, I think is not going to give you a ton of floor either, but I think has enough assist equity to maybe pay off that day. All right. Max P, as you can already get a feel for how I feel about that game, I'm probably off of him, but every time I'm off of him is when he has 3 points, 20 DK. I just think Draisaitl is in such a better position. I think it's easy to go to him. Brady Tkachuk as well. The double-digit floor for Tkachuk is just crazy. I mean, I know he's talented. I know he loves to shoot the puck, but it still takes a lot to be that consistent of a player. So let me just read off to you his point totals. And he just goes so overlooked. So in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. In the last 15 games, he has 3 games under 10 points, under double digits. Okay. In all those same games, he has 4 games under 4 shots on goal. And he has hit the shot bonus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So like it's insane. And what's crazy about it is he's not converting enough of these chances, right? Like he has this double digit floor, kind of like I talked about with Fiala at the beginning of the season, honestly. Fiala's shot volume has gone down a little bit. And kind of like Raquel, who we'll talk about too at 4.9, like the shot volume and the high danger chances are there. It's a matter of time before those like 10, 11, 12, 15-point games that Tkachuk has with maybe 4 shots on goal and 1 assist turn into a goal and an assist, and now you're looking 20 plus. So his upside is just immense, and this is a great game environment. And he's likely going to be on the ice the same time McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice, and not for the defensive purposes, right? Like those 2 guys are elite high skaters, and they do have a lot of puck possession, but as hard as they go on offense, they also give it up on the other end. So Brady Tkachuk, great play at 6.9. Landeskog is a cheap way to get, probably, I assume they'll go back to their normal lines tomorrow morning, but Landeskog at 6.2 will be a nice value. If Stone is in, I think you can definitely make a case for him at 6.1, and Gallagher's form is great in a great matchup against Vancouver at 6K. Then we have Kevin Fiala. And sorry about the yawns. Like 2 kids lately, just, taking up a lot of my energy. So with a 3rd one on the way very, very soon, a 3rd girl, I'm going to be a girl dad of 3. So I'm really excited about that in like 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah, well, maybe we'll pump up some videos from the OB room or something crazy like that. No, I'm just kidding. But we will always have you covered for core plays at FSI. So I might have to take like a slate hiatus and put one of you great guys in our chat, in charge. But Fiala at 5.4K, I think is a little bit underpriced. Don't love the matchup, don't love the game environment, but I think as a pure player, he could do it here. Raquel, I love 4.9, still not really getting the respect. And I think somebody in our chat, McKinley, I think it was, posted just like his totals and his price still sub 4K. Like the guy is phenomenal. He's been like top 15 all year in high danger chances and shot volume. It just wasn't converting, and now he is converting. So love him at 4.9. Yamamoto is going to continue to be the beneficiary, at least in the short term, of skating as the 3rd guy on Draisaitl and McDavid's side. Normally, I don't love paying that much for like the 3rd wheel or just the guy that has access to that first line. Like I prefer to be at like sub 4K, but I think it's a good enough matchup that you can consider him here. Clayton Keller has been in great form lately, so I don't mind him at 4.5. Athanasiou, 3.2, skating with Jeff Carter on the second line, or has been recently. He always had a lot of shot volume for Detroit when he played with them, but he's been kind of like stuck on the 4th line and just was injured, I think, not playing a lot early in the season for LA. So I do like him. I think he's way underpriced at 3.2. Greenway is showing why we loved him so much as a prospect for the Wild. Just getting that top 6 role or top 9. I don't know if he's on the 3rd line technically, but he's still going to see 17 to 18 minutes of ice time. So I really like him at 3.2. And then Nishkinen, I think it's going to be a little bit of wait and see. His form is phenomenal. I still think you can play him if he's on the second line with Kadri. If he gets bumped down to the 3rd line, I'll be a little bit more hesitant to plug him in. All right, let's get to the defender position. Nurse and Barrie are going to be just kind of continuing the theme of Edmonton here. I think they're both in play. Both had double digits in the last game. Bree's going to continue to be on the power play. Nurse is going to have to continue to have more like block shot floor. So I think they're both fine. Petrie also, it's just like a guy I continue to keep overlooking. And then you go look at his logs and his stats. So it's like, holy cow, this guy like doesn't ever not get double digits. So he's in a good matchup too with Vancouver. Shabbat, getting that 25 to 27 minutes of ice time, has a lot of good floor, block shots, shots on goal. Again, in that 6.5 total with Edmonton. Edmonton's not really that good on defense, remember, just because they are a big favorite here in high total doesn't mean that they play good defense. Now, somebody who absolutely wants to score goals as a defender is Jakob Chikrin. And at 5.8 on Fanduel, he's like criminally underpriced. I don't know, like 4,000 or something. They just like never change his price tag. So likely he'll be a core play on Fanduel, but you watch him, he doesn't sit at the blue line. He wants to get up to the dot. He wants to get up to the edge of the faceoff circle, and he wants to fire some wristers. So you can't fault a guy, and he is just a phenomenal cash play because of that. Like his floor is phenomenal. The mid range is so gross here for defender. Like Gerard's been good, whatever. It's really hard for me to buy into him a ton just because I don't really think he's that good, but he's just been on power play 1. So I guess he's fine if you want to get some access to Colorado. Brodin 2 is really not that sexy of a pick, but his block shot volume has been pretty insane lately. And he is going to be skating, 22 to 24 minutes ice time. And Vegas is a team that loves to shoot. So I think that actually like you could figure that into his equity of block shots here. And Zaitsev is somebody also kind of in the same position where Edmonton's going to fire a ton of shots, and he's got a decent floor because of that. He will get in front of, easily 3 blocks and get that bonus. And then, does offer some shot on goal upside as well. Some value, we have Chris Russell at 3.5. He's kind of similar to Larson, but he's just way cheaper. So I kind of just like, that's the tiebreaker. Like I kind of view those two as like really similar players. They, will block 2 to 3 shots, might put 1 or 2 shots on goal, but whoever gets like lucky with the assist because, they dished it off to McDavid halfway down the ice, and McDavid skated the length of the ice and puts it in the net. They're the ones that getting the benefit of the assist. So I'll take the cheaper one, and that is definitely Russell. Shattenkirk with 2 phenomenal games recently. I think a goal against LA. 3.4 as Hampus Lindholm continues to be out. I think you can continue to consider him and Cam Fowler. I just think Shattenkirk has more willingness to shoot the puck, so I like him at 3.4. I think it's Mickey Anderson for LA. It's kind of just been like a grinder cash value for a while for me. Honestly, he's been in the first pairing with Drew Doughty. Not getting maybe second power play, but I'm not really worried about the power play. He's like getting 20 to 22 minutes of ice time, like just seeing a couple block shots and a couple shots on goal. And all of a sudden you got a 4 or 5 point floor for, basically a punt. So Travis Hamonic though, probably will be a very popular play tomorrow. Likely, potentially a core play for me on DK because it will allow me to fit in other studs. He's just too much of a floor player to be priced at 3K. I think like he should be like 4.5. He is not going to see like the power play time with, Edler and Quinn Hughes and even guys like Nate Schmidt and Tyler Myers. Like there's a lot of mouths to feed in that defensive, back 6 for Vancouver. But man, this guy, when he gets the puck on his stick, he is shooting, or on defense, he is blocking. So I love him at 3.1. And then Hagee at 3K. If Pietrangelo is out, I like him even more. But I think he's offered enough value. Like him and White Cloud, can at least, put up some peripherals there at super cheap. So I don't have a slide here for my favorite line stacks and goalies, but I think, whoever starts tomorrow for Edmonton will be one of my favorite cash goalies, even though I think the game environment is not great for that. But I think that's where people will go, or people will go with Grubauer. I think Grubauer will be pretty popular with Colorado at home and being the second biggest favorite and just less likely to give up like 2 or 3 goals. So my favorite line stacks are going to be obviously to no one's surprise. The top 2 are going to be Colorado 1 and Edmonton 1. But I think you can get sneaky with, like going, if you think Vegas pops off, I think a lot of really cheap stacks with Anaheim or Minnesota, like that Anaheim line. Let me double check with Raquel. I think I mean, their players are all cheap, too cheap, honestly, in my opinion. So you have the top line with Getzlaf, Comtois, who's been phenomenal, and Terry. Like you're getting that line for like 10K, maybe 11K, and then you have the second line with Henrique and Zegras and Silverberg. Obviously, I like all those guys too. And Raquel actually down on the third line. But if you actually look at Raquel's playing, he's still playing like 18, 20, whatever. His time on ice is good. And Lundstrom has been in really good form too. So don't love that Raquel's like technically listed on the third line, but he's been just way too good. And that top power play unit of Raquel, Henrique, where you can get some power play correlation, and then maybe you one off with Zegras or Shattenkirk. I think there's definitely some good plays there. So be sure to check out Left Wing Lock or Daily Faceoff to check on those lines tomorrow. My goal is still to get kind of like a DFS 101 cash games, kind of what people should look at, because I know we're getting some new guys in our chat, which is phenomenal. I love it. And I know we have some questions where you might think it's like, oh, this is a really dumb question, but it isn't. If you haven't played NHL DFS or you don't have that background, it's fine. But I think there is ways that you don't have to absolutely know the sport, like love the sport, watch the sport every day. And you can use statistics, analytics, the line rushes, and you can still be a really successful DFS player. So thanks a lot for listening, guys. I will see you hopefully soon. Later.